رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Imam Abdullah apologizes that he can't be here today. He is unwell this morning. We make dua for a speedy recovery for him. But carrying on the theme of Ibrahim alayhi salam and the blessed days that are nearly upon us, of Dhul Hijjah, I wanted to touch upon this individual and what we can learn from him. For he is an individual who is loved dearly by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Khalilullah, he is a dear friend of Allah. He's an individual who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells the Prophet Muhammad to follow in the Quran. فَاتَّبِعْ مِلَّةَ إِبْرَاهِيم. Follow the way of Ibrahim. He's an individual who, in every one of our prayers, we send our blessings upon. And when we look at Ibrahim alayhi salam, we can look at his life from different aspects. We can look at him from his journey to faith and how we can relate that here today in the 21st century with the call to use his reason. We can also look at the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam and his submission, in particular amidst the family and societal pressures that he was under, much similar to us here today. But what I wanted to look at today, inshallah, just briefly, was the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam and his character, and in particular his interaction with other individuals. So I have four short anecdotes to share from the life of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam in light of the Quran. The first is Ibrahim alayhi salam and his interaction with his father. We see from the Quran that his father was a man who worshipped idols, and he very much opposed Ibrahim alayhi salam. He didn't ascribe to his way of life. In fact, he was very staunch against Ibrahim alayhi salam. And so when Ibrahim comes to speak to his father, you can see the tone that he uses and the words that he uses. Ya abati, oh my dear beloved father. A very famous passage where his father is very angry at Ibrahim. He vehemently is against Ibrahim alayhi salam's teaching, yet Ibrahim is very soft with him. And when his father threatens to kill him, to evict him from the household, Ibrahim alayhi salam is patient and he's loving. And so when we draw lessons for today, we see the parent-child relationship in several cases, unfortunately, is either dysfunctional, non-existent. Sometimes our parents may have demands upon us. Parents will get older. Sometimes parents are just not understanding us. Yeah, look at Ibrahim alayhi salam. How does he teach us to interact with our beloved parents? Still with peace, still with patience, still with love. and not to forget the favor that our parents have shown us from before we were even born. We should keep this constantly in the back of our minds. This is part of the Abrahamic character. The second anecdote is now reversing the roles, looking at Ibrahim alayhi salam as the father. And when he is given revelation in the form of a dream to sacrifice his son, what does he do? You'd half expect him to go to his son and to say, along the lines of, I've been given revelation, this is from Allah. Really, there's no two ways about this, so this is how it's going to work. So follow X, Y, and Z step. But he doesn't do that. He goes to his son, he explains what's happened, and then he says, فَانْظُرْ مَاذَا تَرَى. Have a look, what do you think? He asks his son, and his son's a young boy at this age as well, by the way. He respects his son. He respects his opinion. Sometimes as parents, we want this good relationship with our children. We want this to revive the good communication with our children. Well, this is two ways, brothers and sisters. If we want to see adults in our children, then we need to treat them that way as well. So that's the second anecdote of Ibrahim alayhi salam, his character's interaction, first as a son, second as a parent. Thirdly, looking at what is very much a topical issue here in the 21st century, LGBT. Somewhat of a controversial topic. And you may ask, well, what has Ibrahim alayhi salam got anything to do with LGBT? Is there anything in the Quran on Ibrahim alayhi salam's interaction, his view on this? Yes, there is. Ibrahim alayhi salam, he lived at the same time as the Prophet Lut alayhi salam. And the people of Prophet Lut alayhi salam, they engaged in these acts that are forbidden in Islam. And they rejected their prophet, they denied their prophet, they gave him a really hard time, to the extent that their time was up. And the angels came to Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, and they gave him a message, we have come to destroy the people of Lut. This is the way of different nations, previous nations. They come, they deny their prophet, they engage in all different acts of disobedience, their time comes. And so the angels come to Ibrahim alayhi salam, and they said, this is the plan. What's Ibrahim alayhi salam's reaction? يُجَادِلُنَا فِي قَوْمِ لُوطٍ. He begins to argue with us, with our plan, with respect to the people of Lut. He becomes their attorney. He starts to defend them. He's calling for patience. He's calling for more time. Maybe they might change. He's looking at them from a different angle. He's giving the eye of potential towards these individuals. He's not writing them off. He's looking at them as Bani Adam. وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. We have most certainly honored the children of Adam. He's looking at them as humans. He's looking at the human side and the potential for them to change. Yes, we can. The acts we disagree with, but that person's an individual. That person's a human. That person has a heart. If you push that person away, where are they going to go? Where would they go? We should be people of love, of tolerance, of patience, of respect. Speak to that person. And this is, if we're going to be real, this happens in Muslim families. This happens in amongst schools. We see this, and people sometimes ask the question, well, how do we deal with this matter now in the 21st century? What is our response? And there are different responses, but generally speaking, one, there's an individual interactional response, and that is the way of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Treat that person as a human being. Show them love, respect, kindness. There's also a bit more of a societal response, and that is, listen, people say we need to stop all this teaching, in the schools. That boat has sailed, brothers and sisters. That boat sailed a long time ago. This will be taught, and this will continue to be taught. This is the country we live in, liberalism. Everything goes, essentially, and everything gets taught. But then what does that mean? Just as LGBT will be taught, Islam will be taught. I can tell you from first-hand experience, there are calls from schools for us to teach Islam. We're already almost booked up for the next term. Come and give us assemblies on Islam. Come and teach the kids workshops on Islam. We want to come and visit the mosque and we want to learn about Islam. It's on our curriculum. So what's the call then? Let LGBT be taught, but then teach Islam. We need to learn Islam. We need to learn the values of Islam. Teach Islam. If this, brothers and sisters, once we learn Islam, when we see the jewel and the diamond that it is, people are calling out for this. Honestly, people are calling out for Islam. The sorry fact is that people just don't know it. We just don't know about Islam. So Ibrahim alayhi salam, on this topic with individuals who may be leading a way of life that he doesn't agree with, he still looks at them with the eye of potential, the eye of humanity. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله ثم الحمد لله ثم الحمد لله وما توفيقي ولا اعتصامي ولا ثقتي إلا بالله العلي العظيم وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا على نبينا وحبيبنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم يا إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على الحبيب المصطفى محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. So we were looking at Ibrahim alayhi salam, his character in particular and his interaction with different individuals, looking at him as a father, as a son, and then on a topical issue here with individuals with a way of life that he doesn't agree with. Finally, looking at Ibrahim alayhi salam and people who opposed him, people who were against him, people who transgressed against him. They caused him a hard time, him personally, a hard time. What was his character? What was his relationship towards these people? What was his attitude towards these individuals? Captured within a wonderful ayah in the Quran. فَمَنِ اتَّبَعَنِي فَإِنَّهُ مِنِّي. Whoever follows me, then he is from me. وَمَنْ عَصَانِي. And whoever opposes me, فَإِنَّكَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. For you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, are most certainly forgiving, compassionate. Look at the way of Ibrahim alayhi salam. People who oppose him, people who are against him, he leaves it open. He leaves the door of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's forgiveness, his compassion, his mercy open. This is the theme of Ibrahim alayhi salam. This is his character. He's not there to write people off. Yes, there are certain times where, and there's a precedence for this of Ibrahim alayhi salam, there's certain times where this is done. But his general attitude towards people, towards individuals, is one of love, one of respect, one of tolerance. And this is the Islamic way that we should all seek to try and embody. Finally, it'd be worthwhile mentioning that the last 10 days are nearly upon us. There will be moon sighting tonight in Saudi Arabia. For those in Azhar Mosque, we follow the moon sighting in Saudi Arabia. If it's sighted, first 10 days starts tomorrow. If it's not sighted, first 10 days start on Sunday. And these are blessed days, brothers and sisters. The Prophet ﷺ said that these are the most blessed 10 days in the whole year. Arguably, even more than in Ramadan, except the last 10 nights where Laylatul Qadr resides. So these are very blessed days, and we should make the most out of these days in whatever we can do in trying to improve our character, in giving charity, in doing dhikr, making dua, prayers, fasting, whatever it is that we can do, we should endeavor to do so. And then there is the udhiyah, the sacrifice that we can do at the end. And just a note that for those who do intend to sacrifice, the advice of the Prophet ﷺ is that we shouldn't cut our nails or our hair within the first 10 days. And so it'd be worthwhile keeping that in mind today or tomorrow, inshallah. And finally, just a note from one of the brothers about Dobbies parking. So Dobbies parking has ceased. There is no more parking in Dobbies. And so please don't park in Dobbies. If you are parking in Dobbies, I mean, you see one section's cordoned off. The other section is their car park. That's not for us to park. If you're going to park there, go into the shop and buy something, inshallah. Otherwise, please don't park there. This is part of character we're talking about. It's not our car park, it's their land. So it's not for us to go and park there unless we're going to use their center. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما ربنا اجعلنا مقيمي الصلاة ومن ذرياتنا ربنا وتقبل دعاء يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك ربنا زدنا علما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم اللهم اشف مرضانا واغفر المسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات اللهم إنك عفو تحب العفو فاعف عنا ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين.